Alright, we're here today at an undisclosed location to see if we can get a 1982 K10 6.2 liter diesel started. It hadn't run in about 10 years. We're going to find out what's wrong with it. Here it is, 1982 K10 6.2 liter diesel, Carmine red, 4-wheel drive. And the first thing we're going to do today is fix this hood latch, because this is how you unlatch the hood. That's not going to work for me, so that's going to be the first thing we do. And there she is, folks. Be right back with you after we fix this hood. Alright, first things first, we remove the two 9/32 screws from the panel here. And that just goes up into a grommet in the firewall. I'm not sure you can see that. We're going to see the best way to get that out. Alright, we followed the hood cable all the way back here to the firewall. It looks like it's just going to have to pull through the interior. I don't see any other way. We'll give that a try. So we're going to have to unhook the cable from here. You can see that's held on by a little crimp nut. And where the cable actually broke is right here, and this is why it's not working. So the cable itself is actually fine. It's the housing that is no longer working. So we'll try to get that unlatched and thread it through. Just a real quick detail here, that little spring clip right there, this cable was just stuck down in there, so we just sprung the clip out a little bit, pulled the cable out, there we go. Now it's time to thread it back through. And there we go. We were able to get the cable out and the grommet out. Here's the grommet. It's just a little tapered guy. The new cable comes with a new grommet, so we didn't have to save this one. One thing I did notice is, check that wire out. I wonder where that goes. It's grounded itself. Somebody's wrapped it around the emergency brake cable. Gotta love hack job wiring. We'll have to do some research. Alright, so we're getting ready to snap this guy in. The instructions say to use for the later model trucks, you use this guy here. For the earlier model trucks, 73 to 80, we use this one. So we're gonna use this pinch nut here as the pull point, and then we'll trim this off so it's not hanging out there. So let's see what we can do here. I can't hold the phone and do this, so I'm gonna have to stop. Alright, so there we go, it's installed. You got the cable housing installed into this clip here, and we're using the second retainer here. We'll trim that off later. It's not in the way right now, but it'll look better if it's trimmed off. I've got it routed through the factory routing, this hole in the firewall, and then there's a little plastic clamp down there, and then through that hole in the firewall. Alright, I'm taking a little bit of a chance here, but we're going to shut this hood and see if it works. If we don't have it adjusted right, I won't be able to get it open again, and I'll have to get creative. Here we go. Alright, now let's see if it unlatches. For the moment of truth. It sounded good. Looky there, it unlatched. There's a beautiful, ugly engine, worked great. So here's the next stage of the plan. I want to change the oil and fuel filters and all of that jazz before we attempt to turn it over, since it hasn't turned over in so long. I like to even pull the glow plugs out, make sure they haven't broken off down in the cylinder. We don't want to bang up the cylinder head or the tops of the pistons. And also the battery trays are trashed, and the battery cables have been really jerry-rigged over the life of this truck. So I'd really like to bolt some new cables and some new battery trays. We've had the bolts soaking in PB Blaster since we started here, so hopefully they'll be able to break loose. And we'll change those trays out, change those cables out, we'll fill it with some antifreeze, make sure the block's not cracked. Maybe we should do that first. Anyway, see you in a minute. Alright, so we got the radiator cap off. Let's look down in and see what we got. Don't see anything there. So we can get some light down in there. There's the either transmission or engine oil cooler. I'm not sure which one that is. I think I can see a little bit of coolant down in there, not much. So maybe that's a good sign that the block's not cracked. The flues seem to be okay. The only way to tell is to fill it up. Alright, so we put almost a gallon in there, and it's kind of bubbling and gurgling up. Looks like it's started to recede a little bit as it just fills in all the air pockets. So we'll let that settle down for a minute. We'll put some more in it a little bit later. Alright, battery tray is pretty simple here. It's just a bolt there. There's one over there on the inside of the fender. And then there's two underneath that go into the fender well here. There's one of the bolt holes there, and then one up under. So we just got those bolts out. They've been soaking in PB Blaster, so they came out pretty easy. And we'll get rid of that. We'll see how bad this fender is underneath, and take a look at that in a minute. Alright, so there's the battery tray out of the truck. Rusted away, obviously. Very common on these old trucks. You can see down in there, the fender is actually in pretty decent shape, even though some rats have built a nest down there or whatever. I think we can salvage that fender well. I don't think we're going to need a new one. And the other one, maybe a different story. We'll see. Normally I would try to clean all of this up and get it all as rust-free as possible, but if we're breaking down this project into a couple of different phases, the first phase is going to be get it running. The second phase is get it driving, and the third phase is get it presentable. If we ever get there, we'll get it to where it looks nice. But main goal for today is to get this thing, see if it'll turn over, and if it will turn over, can we get it to crank? That's the goal. So we'll worry about cleaning it all up and fixing it right, if you will. We'll do that later. Here's our new battery tray next to the old battery tray. You can see there's not a whole lot of difference other than where it's rusted out there in the corners. And then it looks like there's some additional mounting holes on the new tray that aren't present on the old tray. But overall, it's pretty good quality setup. The stampings look like they could be from original tooling, but who knows? It's all made in Taiwan. And here's the other battery tray. You can see it's pretty much trashed. So we'll get it out, same 4 or 5 bolts, and get the new one in. Alright, new battery tray installed on the driver's side. A couple little mysteries. Couldn't figure out what this is. It was just hanging under the battery tray, not screwed into anything. I believe that's the vent for the front differential, but I'm not 100% sure, and we'll have to look at a build diagram or service manual to make sure on that. And then there was, where did it go? There's a wire here that is not plugged into anything. I have no idea what that's for. It's just a single terminal. Can't really tell what that color is. Orangish brown. So I have to look up a wiring diagram to figure out where that guy's supposed to go. So we got that one in. Now we'll take the other one out and install a new one. So here's the second battery tray, all unbolted. Same kind of bolts. You see it's all rusted out. There's something is supposed to be right there. I'm not sure what that is. Have to do some investigation, maybe a ground wire or something like that. You can, oh, I know exactly what that is. That is this guy. It's supposed to be bolted to that, I bet. Yep, see the ears have broken off. Unfortunate. What else is down in here? We got some kind of cover to something. Some kind of label. That might be useful. We might look at that later. We got a little bit of a rat's nest here. All good. Battery hold down. Those are helpful. We'll set that aside. And what else is down in here? Just more rat's nest. See if there's anything useful in there. No. Just rat shit. Sorry, rat poop. More rust and debris. Get it all cleaned out here. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to salvage this inner fender well. It's completely rusted through, as you can see right there. It's totally rusted away all the way through. Very common, as you guys know, on these trucks. So get that out of the way. We'll sweep the rest of this mess out and get the new battery tray put in. Alright, second battery tray is in now. Pretty simple installation. Just the reverse of disassembly. We did get the new bolts and the battery hold downs. Those were missing. And like I said, I think it's time to replace these battery cables. Unfortunately, the ones I have, I think this is potentially original red cable. When you look at the wiring diagram, it labels it as red. I bought new AC Delco cables, and they are all black with the end piece being red for the positive. So next is do those battery cables. Alright, so we got the negative battery cable installed. It just mounts to the alternator here. And the AC Delco cable is actually really nice. It's got it's 2 gauge instead of a 4 gauge, which is what was on the truck. So you can see it's really heavy duty, new connectors. Connects into that body to ground cable there. I'm going to end up replacing that with a heavier gauge wire, because you can see what's originally there is a bit heavier than what they've replaced it with. Next is to the cable that runs down to the starter, and you can see that runs all the way down there under. So we get the truck jacked up, we're going to get under there and get that replaced.